Hello, hi, I'm Jane Ann. This video is for you if you are working on any kind of health or healing habit around your well-being and you're struggling with making it stick. I am a certified health and wellness coach. I also do professional leadership coaching. So what I wanted to talk about today was really why your health habits may not be sticking. And I have number one, we'll go just through it. Some of the things that I see really commonly is you are trying to shift too many things at once. Like, hey, we want to do all the things. We want to get better sleep. We want to eat better. We want to exercise and do meal prep and wake up earlier. And, you need to change your work routine so you're more efficient at work. There are so many things that we can focus on that it can be really overwhelming if you feel like everything needs to change, and it's just not possible. And while it might seem like, oh, well, in order to go to bed earlier, in order to wake up earlier, I have to go to bed earlier, all these different kinds of things that we end up, um, they are connected, and it's just not possible to do them all at once. It's not feasible or realistic to ask yourself to do that. The second one of why you might not be able to keep with your new health habits is because you have really unclear motivation. So we have like internal motivation that comes from within us and external motivators, people around us saying you should do this thing. And, your work does like a step competition or something. Those are external, but in particular, I'm talking about like your internal motivators. You don't know why you need to make these changes right now. What's important to you? And the third reason I see that people are struggling around their habits would be just that inner critic, the person who is like, I can take, and I do this myself, I take full responsibility for all of the things that are my misgivings and my failures and the things that I struggle with. And that voice that we all have inside that tells us that we're not doing a great job, or whatever the case may be, that negativity that circles in our heads is it's really, it can hold us back, obviously. But I think it's worth stating that we have different parts of ourselves, and sometimes that inner critic can get the best of us. After discussing like why some of these things might not be working for you, is really getting to some of the other things that you can do to support yourself better in making these changes, because that's what it's all about. All right, so the first one is, you guessed it, keeping it simple. My husband always says, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. But I don't like the stupid. I think it's just simplify, be kind to yourself. Just pick one instead of putting so much pressure on yourself to do all of the things that feel like need to be done at one time. Focus on one thing at a time. And it can be hard in our busy, efficient culture to be able to stop and say, I'm only going to work on one thing. Our culture is very like go, 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 busy, efficiency, do all the things at once, and not considering our bandwidth or our ability to take on changes. And we're whole people. So while we may also be wanting to improve our health and like eat better, we still have to take care of our kids, or we have to go to work, and we have to do the things like taking care of your mom or whatever your life circumstances are. And so that's number one, keep it simple. And then the second one is keep it small. So instead of, I need to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning every day and, get my exercise on or whatever, it's keep it small. So what is the most realistic step that you can take, that is the smallest thing that you can take? Because we want you to build up what's called a sense of self-efficacy and showing yourself, basically proving to yourself that you can do it. So I would much rather you be like, well, I usually get up at 8 or 9. And so instead of being like, I'm going to wake up at 6 and tackle the world every single day, it's like, I'm going to wake up at 8. And because it's 8 or 9, like 8 is good. 8 is like right in there where it is not too ridiculously overwhelming. And you're not going to do it every day. Like you're going to do it, I don't know, on the days that you have work, 5 days a week, something like that. So keeping it really small, like the smallest step you can take. Maybe it's not even waking up at that time. Maybe it is the night before and you're like, I'm rolling with this example of sleep, and it could be anything, but maybe it is like, I am going to read for 5 minutes before bed instead of get stuck on my phone scrolling, so that you are able to get up a little bit earlier soon because you're putting in these good routines that support that. So keeping it simple, keeping it small. And then number 3 is 3 and 4 are ways to connect with that sense of self that helps you overcome the inner critic. And so the first one is based in positive psychology. And I want you to go back to a time when you felt like you were successful with something. It can be anything, just a time when you changed something and you were successful, or a time that you did something hard and you were able to do it. Connecting yourself today to that past self that was able to harness their strengths and their ability to marshal those inner resources is just a way to bring that energy forward, so that you are it's top of mind. Like we can consciously decide where we want to focus, and when we focus on those positive things, it helps to bring them into our life in the present. And so remembering how, I don't know, I went to college and I took classes that I hated, and I was able to eventually graduate or get to classes that I liked and then graduate with a degree that has gotten me where I need to be, or whatever the case may be, but that you have done hard things in your past, and to remember those to bring them forward. And then the last one is my favorite, and it's give yourself self-compassion, because change is hard, and be kind. As simple as it sounds, like a lot of times people quote Kristin Neff, and like the self-compassion research is beautiful and overwhelmingly supportive of the fact that, like, if we got away with speaking to other people the way that we talk to ourselves, like, we would not be able to, like, put our face out into the world. Like, people would just stone us because we are so freaking ugly to ourselves. But would you ever say to your mom or to your kid, like, you stupid something something? And of course not. And that dialogue is going on in our heads every day. And so ways to practice self-compassion would be just giving ourselves a self-compassion break, asking ourselves questions like, how would I say this to my child if she were in this situation? And so on and so forth. There's multiple ways to bring self-compassion to yourself and to be kind while you're making changes. There's a lot of research behind that one, which I love, because it just makes sense, like on a scientific, evidence-based level, and like on an intuitive heart gut level. Like, being kind to ourselves is the way that we are going to continue to make the changes that we know we need to support ourselves and our health and our well-being in the ways that, we can show up our best in the world. All right, I hope that these were helpful for you, and that is somewhat clear for you why you might be struggling with some of the habits, to keep them going, and also what to do about it. So if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Thank you.